Along the Erie Canal on the Central Wharf in front of the USS Little Rock, it's the panel brought to you by Sport Chek. Tom Gazzola alongside Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels from the Oilers Radio Network. Guys, feels like deja vu. We were just here a couple weeks ago, the Oilers with the fourth pick heading into the draft. The value of that pick, Bob, has it changed since we were here 2 weeks ago?
I don't know if it's changed since 2 weeks ago, but expansion has changed the value of the pick because it's going to be a player that you don't have to protect for the upcoming expansion draft, and I think that's driven valuation skywards for the potential pick. And you know, I take a look at it, and the other thing that's changed is, and we kind of knew this after the conclusion of the Memorial Cup, was the play of Matthew Tkachuk. I think it's certainly given some people some thought that he might be a guy that some maybe somebody considers taking a 3, whether it's Columbus or someone else. Certainly the Oilers, I think, would have to be quite interested in him in that 4-hole. So, yeah, there's been a little bit of movement, and there's going to be lots of discussion. We know that over the course of the next few days.
Speaking of that, Jack, after the fourth pick, the Oilers have 8 other selections in this draft going into it as we speak right now. What does that mean for the team?
Well, 3 in the third round in particular, and it really means one of two things. If there is a deal to be had, and of course, you know, when we talk about deals, and it's fun to talk about potential trades.
Always.
Will the Oilers potentially trade back a few picks and take Sergachev, that a big defenseman, in the 7 or 8 hole? But my experience with these type of things is, generally speaking, form holds. And if form holds, that enables the Oilers to use the volume of their picks to restack key areas like defense and goaltending. If there is a deal to be had, then all of a sudden those 3 third-round picks, 1 or 2 of them will be put into play, and perhaps the Oilers can move up maybe later in the second round. They have the 32nd overall selection. Bob, they might want to pick in the 40s, and that's where, again, you have the ability to move up, not necessarily in the first round of the draft, but in the second round.
Stuff. What do you want to say something really quick to
that?
Well,
I totally agree with Jack. I mean, there is a distinct possibility that, the Oilers have 3 thirds, the Calgary Flames have 3 seconds, and they might be a team that wants to catapult ahead of Edmonton and get into the 3 hole. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. Or maybe one of those seconds gets used to acquire a goaltender. Probably they're going to need more than 1 second to get a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury out of Pittsburgh if they decide to go down that path. That's speaking of trades, because that's a good point. You take a look at the Oilers. We all know Edmonton needs to get a defenseman. I believe.
But.
I know there's a perception out there that the defense market has tightened up a bit. It probably has. Sammy Vatanen, I think we can assume, is off the market given that Anaheim stepped up. I still believe Tyson Barrie is available. Joe Sakic said 8 days before trading Ryan O'Reilly last year that the first priority for Colorado was to get Ryan O'Reilly signed. I believe Colorado's a team to watch at this draft. I don't think there's any debate about that. They're looking to make some changes. So I think that I'd be surprised if we got back to Edmonton on Sunday and the Oilers didn't have 1 right-shot defenseman.
It's funny you read,
okay.
Yeah, well, okay. You read clippings from around the league.
NHL right-shot defenseman.
NHL right-shot defenseman.
Okay. You read clippings around the league going into the draft, and everyone seems to want defensemen, so they're a hot commodity heading into this weekend. What else are we hearing? What are some interesting teams to look out for here this week, guys? I'll get Jack's take first, then we'll go to you, Bob.
Well, I think one of the teams to look at now is Anaheim. They acquired a late first-round pick in this draft, and the reason I mention Anaheim in particular is there are a lot of Edmonton products that are projected maybe late first round up to mid-second round draft, and I'm going to be curious, Bob, whether a guy like Tyler Benson all of a sudden comes into play. He's been projected to be drafted anywhere from 20 to 50. I mean, he's got a huge range. Sam Steele's another guy. And Anaheim, with those 2 late first-round picks, wouldn't surprise me at all if they take a bit of what's perceived to be a flyer on a guy like Benson, who's structurally sound, yet has been nagged by some unique injuries the last couple of years.
Bob, you like Benson. You took him in our mock draft last week. What do you have to say about teams and maybe Benson as well?
Well, I agree with Jack. The one thing Anaheim's done is they've drafted well. They've traded a lot of those picks, but they have drafted well. Again, I think keep an eye on an organization like Colorado, the New York Islanders. We know they're going to lose Oposo. They're going to lose Matt Martin. Maybe they're looking to make an upgrade somewhere. We're talking a first liner and a fourth liner there, but with a first line wing position. So the New York Rangers are going to be a team. It's going to be fascinating to watch what happens with them. Anaheim surely will be a team to watch. Does Pittsburgh move a goalie? Does Tampa Bay move a goalie? What happens there at Stamkos? This is going to be a highly entertaining next few days.
Certainly going to be a lot of fun, as the draft always is.
I hope he's right. Because sometimes
I
at
mean-
these drafts, you get let down a little bit.
I think this is the year that we're going to see some of that movement, Jack.
Last year was fun, too. Okay, we'll see what happens heading into Friday. Who knows? There's been a lot of movement in the league in the last couple of days. Of course, Jack and Bob have you covered right here on Oilers TV, and, of course, 6:30 Chet alongside Reed Wilkins. I've got you covered here on Oilers TV, as does Chris Westcott over on EdmontonOilers.com.